We say a special good morning to our listeners, good morning to our viewers. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Wednesday. It's the 13th day of May, 2026. Good morning to those of you also listening and viewing via social media platforms, whether it's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. You know, on Wednesdays, we usually have, of course, various departments, various individuals representing the government on the program. Today, we do have the Honorable MP for Carriacou and Petite, Martinique, Tevin Andrew, with us this morning. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the program this morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, GT, and good morning to the people of Petite, Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada. I'm well, thank you.
It's been a bit. It's been a bit to have you on the program. Was it sometime last year or the year before?
The truth is, I can't remember. The truth is, it has been a very long time.
It's been a bit.
So I commit to you and to the nation that you'll be seeing me a little bit more often.
I'll be happy to hear you say that. Certainly happy to hear you say that. How is Carriacou and Petite Martinique? To get the conversation started, let's kick it off on a lighter note. How is Carriacou and Petite Martinique? We know Hurricane Beryl, 1st of July 2024. How is Carriacou? From your point, being the minister, how is Carriacou right as it stands right now?
Thank you. Very good question. And certainly we can start off with how is Carriacou doing. Now, July 1st, 2024, I recall the preparation it took to get back to Carriacou in preparation for the hurricane, because at the time, of course, I was in New York. But just to fast forward, the morning after, which is the second, or probably the same day, the evening, when I look at the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl, that Category 4, bordering a Category 5 hurricane, I was devastated, traumatized, shocked, and to some extent felt hopeless that Carriacou and Petite Martinique was finished. As a matter of fact, when I spoke to the Prime Minister the day after, because of we didn't have any communication, and even before, I remember the conversation I had with him before when the first wave hit, I said, Prime Minister, Carriacou is finished. Carriacou is finished. And when the second wave hit and we didn't have any communication, and I was devastated. But fast track to today, almost 2 years later, looking at our clinics, our health centers, our hospital, our police station, critical infrastructure, the fact that all 100% electricity supply is back up and functional, our water system is functional, we have less people that are living in less than desirable conditions, hundreds of homes distributed across Petite Martinique and Carriacou, and lots of support given to the residents of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, to the businesses of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. I believe that we are in a much better place than we were almost 2 years ago. So certainly, we all will wish that the recovery process we could have a magic wand and everything could be nice and dandy. But we are dealing with realities: manpower shortage, labor shortage in general, material shortages. But despite all of that, we are making significant progress and strides. And also taking into consideration other islands who face similar disasters before us, like Dominica. And Dominica is still in the recovery process after 8 years ago of their having a devastating hurricane. And I can move up the islands and also to parts of the great United States and others who are recovering 10, 8, 9 years after major hurricanes. We are almost 2 years, and I believe that we are making significant strides. We are over more than 80% recovered fully. So how is Carriacou and Petite Martinique? We are much better than where we were almost 2 years ago.
Focusing a wee bit now on the rebuilding efforts. We move from one stage to the other. You talk 80% complete. Give me over 80% complete. Give me a realistic value, not only value, but a realistic picture of how things has been completed thus far. What major areas are still lagging behind, if you can say that?
a realistic picture of where we are currently. As I've explained, we are.
You said that in the previous segment, which I understand.
Yeah,
what is still lagging behind in the recovery effort? It may be the simple way of saying it to you.
Well, as I've explained, I think the challenges that we have is manpower, material shortages that continue to be that continue to plague us, and it's not something that's unique to Carriacou. I mean, right here in Grenada, you know of the construction boom that's taking place within the country. It has not slowed down. So the demand for aggregates, the demand for materials, building materials, is off the charts. So we are competing with just about everybody for building materials, and also taking into consideration that it's not just a Grenada thing, but it's a regional thing and a global thing. So yes, manpower and materials, that has been our challenge. But despite that, I think we have made significant strides from where we were to where we are currently. And we're working with our contractors who are doing an excellent job. We're working with our local hardwares that are trying to keep up with the demand, and they have been doing excellent so far. So all around and all in all, I think we are managing well.
You spoke about a number of homes, especially let's switch to housing for a wee bit. You spoke about lots of homes have already been completed. Some are still under construction.
Yes.
Within months of the Hurricane Beryl, can you break down for me how many families are still waiting for that permanent housing?
As it stands today, there's about 50-something more people on the waiting list. From January to now, we have started the construction of over 40 homes. As a matter of fact, last week we delivered 2, and we only delivered 2 because there are several events and activities happening in the constituency. Tomorrow, I believe, my team and I will be handing out 4 homes. It's supposed to be 6, but I told them we're going to do 4 because of this packed schedule. And every week, we should be handing over homes to residents in Carriacou and Petite, Martinique.
All right, great. Certainly happy, and so the families who will be receiving this home are certainly going to be happy for that.
Oh, they're extremely happy, and the government is playing its part, and the homeowners are also playing their part. So the government is basically building a shell, and the homeowner's responsibility is to do the electric, the plumbing, etc. We do basic plumbing, ensuring that there's running water, ensure that the bathroom and toilet is functioning, etc. And we also provide support to families, especially those that cannot afford otherwise, to get those works done. So it's not just a case where the government is just doing everything, but it has to be a partnership, and that's what we're doing. And we're happy with the progress and with the steps that we have taken and the approach that we have taken so far.
There's always going to be concerns that's going to be raised. There's always going to be concerns. We have some residents who, despite the millions, in regional and international assistance have been offered to Carriacou, someone's saying that enough hasn't been done on the ground.
Can you point me to the millions of dollars?
Well, there were millions of dollars. We had the CRIF payment and all that. Sir.
No,
they were.
No, I'm asking.
Not that I have to point you, but I think there were millions of dollars to Carriacou in terms of helping in the recovery. Not so? Well, am I wrong by saying that?
$118 million, right?
Yes, there were millions. From CRIF, yes.
Right. And it's not just for Carriacou and Petite, it has to do with the state of Grenada, because not just Carriacou and Petite that was impacted by the hurricane.
But Carriacou have received their fair share also. Would you agree to that?
The state received the funds, and it had to be disbursed in many ways for agriculture purposes, for the restoration of water, the restoration of electricity, for fishes, etc. It is broken down. I think the Ministry of Finance did a marvelous job, and the PSN Finance and others give an excellent job in terms of how the funds were disbursed and how it was broken down. But I just want to make a point, because I keep hearing this talk about $118 million GT. The experts told us after the assessment was done that to rebuild Carriacou and Petite and the northern part of Grenada from the impact and the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl will cost the government of Grenada in excess of $600 million.
For the island of Carriacou and Petite.
For the state of Grenada, which includes Carriacou and Petite, specifically the northern part of Grenada, which was impacted by Hurricane Beryl. Because Hurricane Beryl didn't just impact.
I know, but the northern part was still minimal to Carriacou.
No. But I don't want us to lose focus, sir.
I'm not losing.
I know that all of the attention is on Carriacou and Petite, but I don't want us to forget that the northern part of Grenada, which includes parts of St. Patrick's and St. Andrews, St. Mark's and St. John's were also impacted by Hurricane Beryl. But I just want us to go back to the point, what the experts have told us, that to recover Grenada, to recover the northern part and of Grenada and Carriacou and Petite Martinique will cost in excess of $600 million. So this $118 million is just a drop, or was a drop in the bucket to deal with the recovery efforts. And I also want us to remember, my dear friend, and listeners, that this $118 million, as the Ministry of Finance explained, was broken down in various categories for fishers, for farmers, etc., etc. As a matter of fact, the funds that were disbursed or were specified for fishers and farmers, the government spent way more than what the CREF insurance paid out for farmers and fishers. I mean, we can do another program where I can probably go through what the Ministry of Finance has broken down, but this information is also online. It is there. We're not hiding anything. All of the information is online. Everything is as accessible on the Ministry of Finance website and page.
All right.
And there was a big press conference where the permanent secretary and other officials from the Ministry of Finance gave the breakdown. So there's no secrecy, there is no corruption, there is full accountability as it relates to the CREF and as it relates to Hurricane Beryl relief.
So if I ask a question, is government still currently able to meet the housing demand in Carriacou and Petite Martinique? Well, there's still resources or supplies challenge slowing down the process.
Well, I just explained to you that from January to now, we've started the process, and that 40 plus homes are under construction. On the waiting list is about 50, and let me qualify that point. There is 50 more people in Carriacou that is waiting for homes, and in Petite Martinique, I believe some 30-something or so more families are waiting. That's on the waiting list.
Okay.
Yes. So just to clarify that, and the government is doing everything that it can. My office, my ministry, and the government is doing everything that we can to meet those demands. Can we help everybody? We are going to do our very best, and we have proven that no one will be left behind. I also want to state, JT, that outside of building homes through the Build Back Better Home project and the social development housing and prefab housing, etc., we are also providing assistance through building material. So there are people whose roof is affected and they can afford to put back the roof, but they need building material assistance, and whose home might be qualified as a level 4 or level 3 or so damage, would receive will ask for building materials, and the assessment will be done and they will be qualified. So lots of funds and lots of support is going into that direction. And interestingly, for the last month or so, we have seen a decrease in applications. Why? Because the majority of people have received support.
Okay.
And the majority of homes on the island are now either under construction or completed. That 20% or so that is not yet completed, in terms of, you go around, you see the tarpaulin and so on, most of those cases is because those homes the families have family issues and they cannot agree on the way forward. It has nothing to do with government, but we are trying our best to assist as much people as we can. And I also want to remind my friends and you, my brother, that recovery, it takes time. We are not perfect. There are challenges, but we are trying our best to see how we could assist as much people as possible in the shortest possible time frame. I remember after the hurricane, there were people, including the experts, who came to Carriacou who said, we will need 5 to 10 years, 15 years to recover. And I'm happy that in less than a year and 11 months, we have made significant progress. There is still much more to do. Plenty more to do, but with time and God, we'll get there.
Would you agree with critics who say that some of the vulnerable residents still has been forgotten, for months after Beryl? Do you accept that criticism in any way? Well,
let me put it this way, and I was explaining to one of your colleagues, after Hurricane Beryl, the plan of action was to ensure that all critical infrastructure and services are up and running. Water, electricity, hospital, clinics, police station, schools, etc. That's why right after, I think 2 weeks, it was 2 weeks after Hurricane Beryl, or less than 2 weeks, we had electricity. Less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Beryl, we had running water. 2 months after Hurricane Beryl, schools were able to resume. We focus on the critical things. And then thereafter, we focus on providing the support to residents. So yes, maybe if we've gone back, we might have done it differently, but I still maintain the critical things had to be addressed first. Water, electricity, schools, health services, all of those very critical and important things. Government buildings in terms of the government offices and so on, so that people can go to access the various support that was available at the time. So that's the approach that we took, and certainly it assisted us in putting structures and systems in place.
I heard you defend the recovery process in efforts in pointing to the restoration of schools. You talk about the clinics, electricity, telecommunication, and so forth. Would you say that has been one of the single biggest achievements thus far?
In terms of the recovery efforts?
Yes.
No, I think the biggest achievement so far for the recovery effort is that it is less than 2 years and we have made significant strides in almost every sector in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And despite Hurricane Beryl, we have several major infrastructure projects that is going hand in hand, whether it's our airport expansion, boat building school, Windward Jetty, Fish Market, Bel Air Road, and I can go on and on with all of the other critical projects that are ongoing in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. So I think as a government, I think as a ministry, I think as a people, we have done extremely well despite the pressure that we have been under.
What is that biggest disappointment or frustration for you personally during this rebuilding process?
That's a very good question, GT. I think one of the disappointment is that probably I should have remained much calmer, much more calm. In reflecting, I said things that now looking back, I have regrets. But I've learned, I learned from that experience. And I'm happy that I have learned, so I'm able to grow. So if there's one regret, is that I should have remained much calmer. And maybe some of the things that were said may not have been said. So that's all the regrets. But every other thing in terms of the decisions that we've made and the approach that we have taken, I am satisfied, because those decisions that we have taken, those steps that we have made, I think it helped us in recovering in such a record time.
All right. We're due for a first break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back. Don't touch it down.
At 5 p.m. on August 5th, 1944, the schooner Island Queen sailed out of the St. George's Harbor. On board were some of Grenada's brightest and best sons and daughters. What happened afterwards remains a mystery.
Where Island Queen gone?
Heritage Theatre Company presents Lucy's Straw Hat, a full-length drama written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, a moving story about a family caught up in the drama of this great mystery. Meet Mammy Sylvie, a woman with a secret too heavy to keep but too painful to reveal.
I'm asking for forgiveness for not telling you the truth.
Pa John, the war veteran.
Sometimes I sit here feeling so helpless, so crushed.
Hyacinth, always ready to do mischief.
You don't see the woman Uncle Norris married? She face ugly enough to turn milk.
Lucy, beautiful and headstrong.
I had a dream, Mommy, but Hyacinth was there, holding my hand.
Lucy's Straw Hat at Grenada Trade Center on Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th June, and at the Luke Cinema on Saturday 20th and Sunday 21st June. All shows 7 p.m. Advance tickets $60, $75 at the door. Come join us.
Where Island Queen gone?
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food and nutrition security for all.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Once again, listeners, welcome back to our viewers to the Point Classic Radio GBN TV. Of course, welcome back, Honorable Tevin Andrew, with us this morning on today's edition of To the Point. MP, welcome back once again.
Thank you.
I want to get into this particular level of the conversation this morning. We're in the dry season.
Yes.
And I am assuming, it's not only assuming, it's impacting the sister isle of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. It's impacting. Water supply, desalination, of course, remain an ongoing concern in the sister isles, I would say.
Yes.
Where exactly does the project stand now? And where can residents expect a noticeable improvement in the supply of water, especially in Carriacou?
So, GT, let me just say that I just saw an advisory from NAWASA, which says that Grenada, the state, is experiencing a devastating or abnormal dry season, a worsening dry season.
Yes.
and their reserves all are under threat.
Yes.
And they are encouraging people to conserve water. So I just want to put some things in perspective. Recently, the government of St. Vincent had to barge down water to the Grenadine Islands. And almost every Caribbean island is facing severe droughts and having challenges. I want to say, though, as it stands today, now, Carriacou and Petite Martinique does not have a water crisis.
You don't have a water crisis.
I want to repeat.
Okay.
We do not have a water crisis. The Nawassa plant is operational. There are days the public get water, in terms of getting access, in terms of trucking, going for water. There are days the government also has a day or two that it gets water to restore public buildings like our hospital or clinics, schools, etc. And for those businesses that are not connected to Nawassa, there are days for businesses to also get access. As a matter of fact, it was day before, I spoke to the manager, the supervisor up for the Carriacou plant, Mr. Bettel, and I had to ask, is there any challenges? And because the reason that we Nawassa and the ministry has a good relationship is that whenever there are challenges, the ministry steps in to tap into our reserves. We have over 200,000 gallons of water in reserves. So there is no crisis. The truth is, there might be some communities that are affected more than others, and there is a system for that. The individuals would call the ministry through social development or our administrative team, make a request, and we would provide water supply to those families or those communities. We have not had requests from the community for water. I want to repeat, we have not had requests from the community for water. My office, the parliamentary office, hasn't received any complaints. The complaints that we receive, or the request or the application that or the calls that we get, the text messages that we get, is about housing. Okay. And mind you, housing has always been an issue even before Hurricane Beryl. So I just want to clarify that point, or to qualify the point. However, water challenges has always plagued Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
That is understandable.
Carriacou has a functional desalination plant. From time to time, there are challenges. There is no challenges with the plant as at this time. Petite Martinique has a functional desalination plant with 100,000 gallon storage. Carriacou has 100-gallon storage capacity. However, recently we added 2 additional 100,000 gallon storage. So in total, it will be 300,000 gallon storage. In addition to that, the various pipes are being laid. I think that was to give an excellent update. But in addition to the pipes being laid, the additional storage tanks, we also just got word that Carriacou will be given a second desalination plant. The investments that we are making today, GT, is not just about today, but it's about the future. But guess what? Outside of all of that, what have we also been doing? We have been rehabilitating and restoring our public systems. That's how we get our storage from. So we're improving our catchments and our storage capacity. We are also clearing and maintaining and rehabilitating our wells and our ponds. That's what we're currently doing today. So when I was in opposition and there were harsh dry seasons, we set up tanks in the various community as well. And I pledge that whenever, if ever, given the opportunity to be member of parliament, I will do everything in my power to tackle this issue of water challenges. And that's exactly what we are doing today. The additional storage tanks, the additional desalination plant, the rehabilitation of our ponds and our wells and our catchments and our public systems. That's what we're doing. Leaders, when given the opportunity to lead, must take decisive actions. And the actions that we take should not just be about the now, temporary fix, plaster on or so, but it should be about the long-term development of your island. And I am happy that the investment that we're making today will certainly help us in the future.
tourism operators in Carriacou and Petite Martinique, they're still in that recovery stages, I would say, in terms of their room stock and so forth. How confident are you that Carriacou will be fully rebound for the next peak tourism season?
I'm confident, but mind you, the room stock has always been an issue before Hurricane Beryl.
I represent to the challenge of who has been there before, who may not have been fully recovered as yet. The number of them may not have been fully recovered at 100%.
I think the majority are. The majority are, and there are a few Airbnbs that came on that recently opened up. We just got word. We not just got word. We know for a fact that Blue Horizon will be launching in Carriacou very soon. An additional 30-something rooms in Carriacou. Okay. So I'm happy about that. The investments. It means that the business community have very high prospect and have high regards for the economy of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, hence they're investing. And there are other hotels which, of course, at a later time we will announce once given the permission to, and other investments as it relates to tourism. But going back to your point, the government of Grenada placed $25 million in GDP after Hurricane Beryl to assist businesses, all businesses that were impacted. Each and every one of them can apply and access those funds to help expand, build better, and build back better than what existed. A number of businesses have accessed those funds and have built back better, stronger, and bigger, from our restaurants to supermarkets, etc. And the interesting thing is that I believe that there's just over $10 million or so, and the GDP people can correct me if I'm wrong, but just over $10 million that is yet to be accessed. So when I hear the complaint that businesses have not received support, it concerns me. As a matter of fact, I heard the complaint once, and I immediately, as the representative, called a business consultation. And after that business consultation with the Grenada Development Bank, there was a lot of clarification, a lot of information shared, and a lot of businesses who did not apply, or who applied but the process was so tedious, reapplied, and they managed to get through. But the GDP team is on the ground. There's an office in Carriacou. There are officers in Carriacou. They're continuing to reach out to businesses, continuing to assess businesses. So to answer the point that you raise that it relates to accommodation, yes, accommodation has always been a challenge. Hurricane Beryl worsened it, but I believe that Hurricane Beryl gave us a good opportunity to rebuild better and stronger, and that's exactly what most of the businesses, especially the tourism businesses, have done in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. But in addition to that, we are also getting new investments, and one of those new investments is True Blue Bay Resort.
All right, great. Happy to hear that. Farmers, fisher folks, they suffered massive loss during Hurricane Beryl.
Yes.
Many of them say that the support has been slow or inefficient for some reason or the other. Are you satisfied at the level of assistance reaching the particular sector? Are you happy with what has it been thus far?
I think we've done... And thank you for that question. I think we've done an excellent job as it relates to providing as much support that we can, be it engine, be it cash in hand, be it training for farmers, be it equipment, and so many other things we have done. There are a few farmers, I believe 40-something fishers, 40-something in total, that are yet to receive payouts. Yeah. But outside of the payout, they have received support in training, in equipment, etc. Okay. The Ministry of Fisheries is working with the Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique to see if that problem can be resolved in the quickest possible time frame. But it's out of my hand as Member of Parliament. It's really in the hands of the Ministry and Minister of Fisheries, and we're continuously working closely to see if we can provide some additional support to those fishers. As it relates to farmers, I think we've done a lot for farmers. Both livestock farmers, crop farmers. Is there more that can be done? Certainly. I don't think we will ever say no. So whatever additional support that they need, we continue to provide. As a matter of fact, I've met with my agriculture team within the Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and I explained to them that this year we are working with serious farmers to try and see how we can, especially as it relates to livestock, because we really want to regain that prestigious pride of the Mecca, the island that produces the best quality of meat in terms of livestock, etc. And we've been making some investments with restoring the Limle farm. And maybe we can get into that at another time. But am I satisfied in terms of the progress and the support that has been given to farmers and fishers? Yes. Is there more that we can do? Certainly, yes. But I believe we will get there with time.
There's always that concern about those long-term resilience, sir. Not just rebuilding, not just are we rebuilding quickly, but rebuilding stronger.
Yes.
Would you say is Carriacou, truly better prepared for another major hurricane?
I believe, thank you for that question. It's a very good question. I believe so. We've been working closely with Planning Authority and various stakeholders to ensure that when we build back stronger and better, and not just in words, but in actual, what's actually taking place. I think we are in a much better position now than where we were. Right. I believe that we have made significant strides to build back better and stronger. There have been issues and concerns raised here and there, and some of it or most of it has been corrected. But we're not living in a perfect world. And whenever challenges or concerns are raised, we try our best to see how we can deal with it as quickly as possible. But the type of homes that are being built, the sort of construction that's being done, the sort of supervision that is now in place, certainly it will eliminate some of the concerns that some have raised. So I think we're in a much better and stronger place than we were before.
All right, certainly happy to hear that. We're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation, folks. Stay with us. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV.
Forsyth. I am one of the teachers at Star Academy. I am happy to say that Star Academy will be participating in the GBN Junior King of the Grill competition. We hope to see the community come out and support us. We have a variety of foods preparing for that day. We are coming to win that cooker, so please come and see the children showcasing their culinary skills. See you on the 30th of May.
I am Anama Queen. I am Zenobia Barrett. I am Rodonna Pak. And we will be representing Star Academy for the GBN King of the Grill competition. We will be making a delicious seafood broth, and we encourage the public to come and support us. See you there.
Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A-game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Get ready for the grand finale of the athletic season. The Whitsuntide Games 2026 take over the Kirani James Athletic Stadium on Saturday 23rd and Sunday 24th May from 9 a.m. daily. Witness 2 days of electrifying track and field action as top athletes from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua, St. Lucia, Guyana, and more go head-to-head with Grenada's finest. Speed, strength, and regional rivalry once more, all in one place. Admission, finish line, $30. Main stand, $20. VIP, $150 for 1 day and $200 for 2 days. Don't miss the final local athletic meet of the season. Be there for the Whitsuntide Games 2026 as the season ends with a bang.
Picture this: a tangerine-colored sunset, cool tropical breeze, and a plate full of perfection. Sunday, May 24th, the day before the holiday. Grenada, get ready to live your best life at Unbothered Brunch.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to your viewers. And Tevin, Andrew, welcome back once again. Politically, there's that growing talk surrounding, the next general election.
Okay.
Have you been officially confirmed as as a representative for Carriacou and Petite Martinique for the upcoming election?
Well, I believe so. Well, thanks for that question. Yes, the political leader and prime minister. We had a engagement in Carriacou, and yes, I was confirmed as the candidate in going forward.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, nice to you said.
Unlike the others, yes, the constituency gave me an overwhelming mandate to move forward. And I had no one opposing me or no other contenders, so it was unanimous.
All right, great. Nice to hear that. Some political observers claim that your handling of the post-burial issues has cost you significant support on the ground. Are you sensing that frustration from constituents?
Oh no, I think based on recent polling, based on engagement, I think we've been getting more praise than heat.
Okay.
So I'm satisfied that we are doing an excellent job.
All right. Do you believe that the recovery efforts has become unfairly politicized a bit?
Well, thank you very much for bringing that up. Interestingly, I get accused from my supporters that the only people that are receiving assistance are people that don't support me, my political opponents, and then my political opponents are saying, well, the people that are receiving support is only my supporters. So it's a good position to be in, that both sides are accusing that there's favoritism taking place on either side. But no, the truth is, Jade, you have to get to know Tevin Andrews, and maybe the more me being here you may get to know a little bit more of me. I came from an NNP background. My entire family supported the National Party, and what I saw, I wasn't happy, and hence I decided I want to get involved to make a difference. Part of that difference that I want to make is to change the mindset and to shift mindset in terms of how we view politics.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of who you support, if a needs arise, you get the support. And I dare anyone in Carriacou and Petite Martinique to say there is political favoritism. I mean, anyone that was affected, that is qualified, would receive the support. There have not been any form of biasness. As I said, I'm criticized heavily by my supporters for supporting the other side, as I say, and vice versa from my opponents for saying we're supporting only our supporters. But I don't view the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique as political tools. I view the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique as my brothers and sisters, my friends, my comrades, and therefore whatever assistance that could be rendered to the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, we give the support regardless. There's no political favoritism. And I have a very difficult time with my supporters by trying to bring that message, because as I said, if there's one thing I want to be remembered for, is not to cause further divide among our people, but to try our best to unite our people. And I think Hurricane Beryl gave us a great opportunity to help bridge that gap, to bridge that gap of divide and bring us closer together.
If elections were called tomorrow, are you confident that the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique will renew your mandate?
Well, here's what. When I went to the people 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I promised that I'll do a number of things.
Yeah.
And if you were to take that score sheet or that report card and look at what I said that I would do, and seeing it being accomplished, then that is how I'll be judged. Judge me not just by my words, but by my actions. I have delivered to the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And delivering to the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, not just doing things for today to get a quick political turnaround, but the investment for the future. So whether it's the Windward Jetty, the Windward Fish Market, investment in our culture through the boat building school, be it the improvement in various infrastructure and in water, electricity, and I can go on and on and on. It is those sorts of investments, it is those sorts of initiatives that helps make Carriacou a better place. And why do you vote for a representative? So that they can work on your behalf, so that they can bring tangible and real development to the constituency. Yeah. And I believe that that's what I have been doing. And it's left up to the people to make that decision. I believe that the people are satisfied with the level of work that we've been doing. The truth is, if I were to compare, not that I want to be cocky about it, but I believe in the last 4 years, almost 4 years, that my team and I, this NDC-led administration, has done more for Carriacou and Petite Martinique than prior administrations within the short space of time, regardless to the pressures of Hurricane Beryl. I think we've done a lot. And really and truly, the people who should be praised, the people are the ones that should be praised, and not necessarily me. I have a wonderful team, my parliamentary team led by my parliamentary manager, and from the ministry end, excellent permanent secretaries and staff, and from the political end, a wonderful cohort of wonderful members and executive and polling division captains and groups and so on that are making the job a little bit easier for me. So it's not just about Tevin Andrews, it's about the team. It's about the team. And politically, the NDC in Carriacou and Petite Martinique has never been as vibrant and more organized than what exists today. And that is what gives me confidence.
You sound happy saying that. You sound very
Not just sound happy, feel happy.
Tell me, looking back at Hurricane Beryl,
yes,
is there anything you would admit that government should have handled differently?
It's a good question. I haven't thought of that. I think that with the resources that we've had at our disposal and the time that we've had, I think we've handled. I think Prime Minister Mitchell has done his best, and the team we have done our best with the time and the resources that we've had. Regrets here and there, maybe, yes, but outside of that, I think we've handled the recovery efforts excellent so far.
All right. As a young leader, sir, in this country, are you concerned about the mixed messages sometimes being sent regarding behavior, leadership, and morality?
Mixed messages?
Yeah.
Well, I have a concern with, thanks for the question, concern with, the future of Grenada and where we're heading. And I believe that there are certain things that we need to do, and there are certain areas that we need to focus on to help build stronger, wiser and more productive citizens. The mixed messages, I'm not too sure exactly what you're trying to get at, but probably if you explain a little bit more, then I can...
I won't go into details now. I was just focusing on a piece I saw you wrote. Was it yesterday or the day before via social media?
Oh, I understand. So certainly I've been calling for the last couple months, shifting of mindsets. Yeah. And that's not a conversation that we may need to have, but I'm concerned about the future of Grenada. I'm really concerned, and the truth is we cannot leave it up alone to government and politicians. Politicians and government comes and goes, but really and truly it has to be a holistic effort. Churches, community organizations, but most importantly parents. But again, that's a conversation for us to have. Oftentimes I get in trouble for what I say, but it's a very hard and painful conversation and topic that we need. It needs to be had. It needs to be had.
I understand. But you mentioned it, and I want to ask you this question. There's a widely circulating recording involving a comment you made with, of course, interaction between yourself and a police officer. Looking back, if you had to do that over again, what would you change?
Sorry. There's a widely circulating...
There's a wide circulating recording involving a comment about an interaction between yourself and a police officer. Looking back at it, so what would you change about that whole comment that interaction, sir?
It's a good question. Maybe I should not have said that I cussed the police, because really and truly, the truth is I didn't cuss the police. I basically said to the Commissioner of Police, I told the Commissioner of Police what I had to tell the Commissioner of Police in front of the officer. Mm-hmm. And let me put some context in this. And yes, there are some things, as I've explained, some things looking in hindsight, looking back, maybe had I remained calm. But I'll just go into details a little, if time permits.
Yeah. Well, we do have 10 minutes.
The officer, myself, my wife, and a few officers, including the officer in charge of this station, came up with the Coast Guard from Grenada the day before Hurricane Beryl, hours before Hurricane Beryl. And on the way up, he was briefing me and I was briefing him as it relates to what needs to be done in terms of the generator for the police station, ensuring that it's there. If it's not there, go up to NADMA, get it, among a number of things. He said, everything is already under control. We have it locked down. I won't go into details in terms of the politics that took place within the police at the police station at the time when he arrived. But long story short, there was nothing in place. There was nothing in place, and after the hurricane, the hours after the hurricane, even before when the hurricane hit, I realized the police station didn't have a functioning generator, and that's where it started. And after the hurricane, the senior citizens of Top Hill, at the Top Hill home, needed assistance, and I requested that the officers go up and assist the seniors relocate to the Bogles Community Center. And the senior officer said that's not the police job.
Okay.
And there were several other things that took place. The police station was compromised. I asked that the police to give a semblance of security to the people, relocate to the tourism building, which was right next door. The officer refused. And there were several other things that took place. So at that time, with all emotions boiled up, I lost it. Maybe I should have handled the situation differently, but I didn't cuss the police. Maybe, as I said, maybe I should not have said that I cussed the police. But when the commissioner did come up, there was an outburst in terms of what I was telling the commissioner.
Okay.
So yes, I did have a emotional breakdown, and I could have handled the situation differently. But there were several factors that led to that breakdown. And thinking about it now, looking at our seniors, it was the seniors in particular, that broke me. Because it could have been my grandmother. It could have been my mother. In water, at the Top Hill Senior Citizen Home. And I'm asking a senior police officer for help with his men. And to tell me that is not your job. It broke me up to this day, among many other factors. So I'm sorry. Sorry that I'm getting emotional, but every time I think about it, it breaks me. And the officers in Petite, Martinique, led by Officer Clarence, did a marvelous job in helping the senior citizens of Petite, Martinique. And I believe Clarence needed a promotion. And I told the commissioner that. And the people of Petite, Martinique praised Clarence Joseph for his heroic efforts. The same, sadly, cannot be said for the officer that was in charge in Carriacou at the time. I can go in more details, but time would not permit me. But I want the public to understand. I am human too. Yes, I agree. Maybe I should have handled the situation differently. In hindsight, looking back, I should have been calmer. But thinking about that particular time, and even thinking about it now, it breaks me.
All right. I understand this. I have one final question for you in this segment before we entertain our callers, because the phone's already going. You know, what's your approach in managing the affairs of Carriacou and Petite Martinique while avoiding the much as possible the label and the perception of nepotism? What's that? Talk to me in reference to that.
managing the affairs of Carriacou and Petite
Martinique. You know, while avoiding, as I mentioned, you know, the labels that comes with it, you know, and the perceptions of nepotism and so forth. How's that for you?
Thanks for the question, GT. Well, managing anything is difficult.
Yeah.
It is. I asked for the job to represent the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and I find joy and pleasure in representing the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique and agitating and advocating on their behalf. So it makes it a little bit easier. The political labeling and the allegations and so on, that comes with the territory. In opposition, I said a lot of things. In politics, a lot of things are said about politicians, and so I accept that. It's like water in a duck's back.
Yeah.
But my focus remain on bringing tangible developments and investments to the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. As long as the people of Petite Martinique and Carriacou benefits, that's all I'm concerned about. And I just want you, audience, and GT, if you just were to look at it, look at the projects and programs that we've been implementing, both building school, expansion of the airport, night landing, hotel investments, and all of those things, water expansion, so on. The development that we are doing and the roads, I speak about the roads because of how we are doing the roads, sidewalks, bigger, wider, better. The developments is not about a quick fix. It's about developing for the now and most importantly for the future. That's what we as leaders have to do. I remember getting into politics myself, Honorable Kieran James, Honorable Ron Redhead, and we have never lost sight of the mission, why we got involved, why we have to make an impact, why we have to make a change. Because we were fed up with what existed, and we wanted to not just talk about the possibilities and not just talk about change, but be part of the change we want and we seek. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're building a better Carriacou and Petite Martinique, but by extension, Grenada, not just for now, but for the future. While on that, I don't know if you're aware that some of the most scholarships and support that has been given has happened under this NDC administration. And even for Carriacou, almost all students that are out studying, whether it's in Jamaica or in the US or in UWI, wherever, they're receiving support from the Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, my parliamentary office, etc. Because we believe in investing, not just for the now, but for the future.
All right.
So it's very difficult to manage, but it's worth the while. Because for too long, we haven't had this kind of representation that we needed. There are challenges, I accept it. But as leaders, we shouldn't just talk about the challenges. We should be finding solutions to those challenges. It has not been easy. There have been days there are days I cry, there are days I break down. But despite the challenges, I press forward. And I remain focused. I try my best to remain focused. Regrets? Yes, there are a few. But despite that, I learn from it and I press on. Never forgetting the mission. A better Carriacou and Petite Martinique for all. Building not just for today, but the future. The future.
All right. Folks, that's in this segment. We're going to entertain a couple of the calls from our listeners and viewers out there. 435-2041, both the direct line and the WhatsApp is now available for your call. We do have our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Telesford. Greetings and greetings to your guests.
Good morning to you, sir.
First, I must say this gentleman does impress me with his speech. Can you hear me well, Mr. Telesford, sir?
Yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear, sir. Go right ahead, please.
Very well. First, I must say this gentleman does impress me with his manner of speech. But anyway, let's go. It seems evidently that the campaign has started, and I wish them well. But I'd like to deviate a bit from the regular trend of the morning to question the gentleman guest as a member of parliament. To do quickly a pre-statement. In July of last year, 2025, a law was passed, or two laws were passed, relative to the change of the oath of allegiance. Powerful word, isn't it? It was based on a theory of a hoax. I was wondering if the gentleman can tell the Grenadian people why he supported what happened, when in fact the hoax of separation separating, listen to me very well, separating a schedule from Schedule 3 from Section 111 was fraudulently done. In other words, the theory for bringing about the change was not correct. As a matter of fact, illegal. Nonetheless, no question was raised by that elected member on this issue, and he went along and agreed with the bill, converted it into a law. As you have said very well in your discourse this morning, there are certain things you said in the past that today you regret. Is this one of the things that you did in the past that you would regret, sir? I trust that my question is well understood. If you didn't, then I'll call again the next time you come around. Do have a nice day. Will you, Mr. Telesford, sir?
Thank you, sir. Have a good morning. You respond to the call?
Thank you, Mr. Rolo, an excellent question. I believe you're referring to the oath of allegiance. I had no difficulties with in supporting the bill. I believe that it was a start. It is a start to where we want to go, where we are heading in believing in ourselves and swearing allegiance to the state of Grenada and not to anyone else.
All right. We do have another caller. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning to you, sir. Let's hear from you, please. And we're a bit strapped for time, so we'll ask callers to be brief.
What's going on? Hi, Tevin. I'm not hearing anything. Hello?
Go right ahead,
yes,
please.
We're hearing
you.
Ahead.
Okay.
Let's hear from you.
Feedback. All right, Tevin, how are you doing? Good day. Yesterday, NNP had a meeting last night, right, in Carriacou. I guess you're aware of it. And Mr. Cox made a couple pronouncements. I just wanted to speak to it. I'm just going to highlight them, and I wanted to speak to it. He spoke about building a mini market in building the mini market in Hillsborough. Wherever he speak about the Windward jetty, he said just a bunch of rubbles just dump into the sea. No tendering, no nothing. Up to now, they can't know the cost of it. Also, he speak about certain people get political favors without no planning process, whatever they building because your friends. A couple other things, but I don't want to get into it. I'll get into it whenever we talk. Okay, I'd like you to make a few remarks on it, and I'm looking forward to see you weekend, bro. Weekend. You know what I'm talking about.
All right, caller. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, I forgot to mention about the Hillsborough Enhancement Project, Phase 1, which includes a mini mall that we are constructing there to help uplift the town of Hillsborough and provide and to help make Hillsborough really and truly come back alive economically. That's the intention. And I spoke about the Windward jetty. It's unfortunate if a statement is made that there's nonsense that's happening in Windward, and the jetty that existed before was a wooden jetty. What we are doing now is a concrete, more sturdy and stronger, better design than what existed before. As it relates to the procurement processes, etc., all that was done above board. The procurement team approved it. The information as it relates to the costs and all that is online. If my good friend Kakabawi friend said that he doesn't know about it, I'm kind of concerned and surprised because there are two ways he can handle it. One, as a question through Parliament, or two, as a former Minister for Infrastructure, he should know that there is a website that's available and he can go there and get on any information that he needs. Again, we believe in transparency and everything is above board. So if there are any concerns or questions that needs to be asked, you go to the relevant channel. He's not a rookie. He's not a newbie to this to politics and to governance. He knows the system. He knows how to get the information. I can't recall the other thing that you mentioned, but the most important thing is that we're moving Carriacou and Petite Martinique forward.
Right. We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, morning GT, morning to your listeners and your viewers, and morning to the Honourable Minister and Parliamentary Representative for Carriacou. Now, Mr. Minister, over the years, a lot of talk has been made around the issue of local government. And truth be told, I think the greatest effort was made by people associated with the NDC, whether it's Dr. Fantal Alexis or later Mr. Prime and so on. But I noticed, although you are Minister of your designation include local government, little is said about that. And I think Carriacou should lead the way in terms of the creation or the cultivation of, for want of a better word, of some system where people would have some real say in, so that the rest of the country can take on it, whether in the form of village council in Grenada and them kind of thing, or even the town council and so on. That's one. I'd like to get something for you. Secondly, the issue of skills. I remember when Dr. Mitchell, that's Pete Mitchell, came to power, he said, about within months that the population, the young people, was unemployable because they didn't have skills. And it seemed as though nothing had been done in spite of Imani and so. And then we had hurricane come. I advocated at the time that we use the opportunity for people to train and have a bank of people that we could turn to in case of emergency. To me, I think we are far from that, even though we talk about funding, assisting people to go NULO and so on. I don't think people probably organizing it properly. I would like, have you folks given any thought of how we could really arrest that situation? Because if we have to import people up to the States. And finally, I know I can't take the whole morning, the issue of the environment. I have issues that, we talk about climate change, we talk about protecting the environment. And to me, whether the previous government, although the previous government, I must say, was worse when it comes to the environment, there's no doubt about that. But even this government don't seem to understand, when we talk about the environment, because we are talking about climate change, but we are busy going towards fossil fuel and other stuff that is in contradiction to the issue of, protecting the future, because how do you talk about for now and the future? And I would like people to really become aware and conscious that all that we do is either it supports us, strengthens us, or we are continuing to weaken ourselves. And the fact that although you're building back in Carriacou, this season we could have an next hurricane, and the next season we need to help people understand that this thing is, there's no return right now, and we have to do everything to make sure that there's a minimum loss of life and property. Thank you very much. I hope I'm not being too...
Thank you, Kola. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy that you brought up the topic of local government. Thank you very much. We have a July deadline as it relates to trying to get the bill to Parliament. A lot of work has been done behind the scenes. Our consultant, George Prime, former Minister for Local Government as well, and I and the Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique and Legal Affairs working with the draft bill. A presentation will soon be made to Parliament, but we are working with a July timeline. I'm not too sure if it will happen, but the intention is to get the local government bill in Parliament before the end of this parliamentary season, session. So hopefully before the end of this year. As it relates to,
I think it's something related to training.
The Ministry of Education is doing a marvelous job regarding the centers of excellence in the various parishes. I don't have much information on it, but I do know that there is a plan of action and it is actively being worked upon in skills centers, those centers of excellence that focuses on skills training, and also working on a policy to provide support to Grenadians in the various areas that are in high demand here in Grenada. So all that is being actively worked upon. But and of course you spoke about the environment. The Minister for the Environment, Honorable Kieran James, have been doing, and this government has been doing a marvelous job as it relates to the environment and a marvelous job as it relates to renewable energy, etc. A lot of investment has been made, and maybe you can invite the Minister to talk about all the wonderful work that she's doing. But I guess because of time we can't go into much of those details.
So we do have another caller, which will be our final caller for the morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning to you, and good morning to Minister Tevin Andrews. I would just like to say, with listening to the program GT, anytime there is a natural disaster, and we saw it with Jamaica, New Orleans, etc., when a natural disaster passes, the very first thing that you have to deal with is the government side of infrastructures, from the the hospitals to the police station. You need to get first responders up and running. Then we approach the process of how we're going to deal with the public itself. In most cases, the public, as in Jamaica, you can see they had to move them to schools, various areas that were able to hold them. It's not of the best, but that's what we had to work with. I'd like to compliment the minister on the, also, Minister Andrews, I would like the next time you're coming on the program to give us a breakdown because of the amount of people that receive materials for roofing. Because I noticed that there was a large number that was given, but we don't hear much about it. Instead, we hear the Build Back Better, which is very good. And to me, the opposition, they keep, since the hurricane passed, that's the talking point for Carriacou, the hurricane. And also, we would like to hear more about the other project because you're doing a lot of roads in Carriacou. There's a lot of infrastructure work besides the hurricane relief that is going on with you currently because you had a mandate and you had things that you had to fulfill, and there's a lot of construction going on in Carriacou besides the Build Back Better. So I would like a rundown on the amount that was given out to roofing because not everybody had to get material Build Back Better. There are people who just had to get materials for roofing or minor little things. So we'd like a thing on that. And also I want to congratulate you. I know this minister for St. Vincent and the Grenadines one time had came down here to get your format of the Build Back Better that you always doing to then implement that in St. Vincent, but their party I think went out of power. There is a new one now. I'm not too sure if they're going to continue with that. So it means once our government could see what you're doing and show interest in it, that means that you must be on to something great. Now what I will ask for as a people, we didn't have that that we wasn't reluctant as the people of Carriacou after Ivan. We had to get it done on our own. We had to get it through our means. Who had insurance based on the mortgage? They got help through the banks. But a lot of us had to do it on our own. We did not have that luxury. And in some cases, I see you building back houses. You're all in Carriacou and they're getting it furnished. I don't know if there's a special program for this one as well. But I would like to say, I'm happy to see what you all are doing. Yes, in everything it could be perfected, but there would never be a such thing as a perfect rehabilitation process. No, that's nonsense. And I would love for the opposition, I've been calling for it from day one. Your duty, not everything you just go about because you want power. You're going to look to make it seem like doom and gloom. But we also had to let people know the reality because Carriacou is trying to get back on foot and there's so much work going on mainland Grenada, aggregates, materials, and then we have this problem that's going on with Iran outside there. Cost of living, they're going to change, it's going to fluctuate. So with what you're doing there, the people just have to be a little bit patient with the Build Back initiative and the rehabilitation process and give you the support that's needed because if we had what they got, as small as it is, because we know the CRIF money had different areas you had to break down.
Well, I'm going to ask you to take 10 seconds and wrap, please, because we're strapped for time.
Let me wrap up, GT. The CRIF money was not enough, but to see that you're able to get materials, to get for roofing, to get Build Back Better, and still in some cases fully furnished, I have to say, man, thank you very much. And continue doing what you're doing. It's not an easy piece coming back from a hurricane, but I see you making great stride. Do have a good one.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Any response to the caller? Anything?
Thank you very much. I think the caller said it all. I really appreciate it. What I do know, the last count that we did as relates to assistance for roofing, is it on?
Yes.
As relates for roofing, I believe it was about 4,000 applications were approved and received. Homeowners received those materials, over 4,000 or so. And hence I'm seeing that the demand for the roofing or material assistance has significantly dropped because most of the homeowners, they have received materials.
And Tevin,
so thank you very much.
I want to thank you a whole lot for being on the program this morning. I think we certainly
there's so much more in terms of the night landing and all that, but I guess it strengthens why I need to come back.
Certainly true. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
Thank you very much, GT. Thank you, listeners, for listening. Thanks to the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique for their continued understanding and patience. We continue to work for you, boots on the ground, and we remain focused and resilient as we continue to get the work done for you. Thank you very much.
Right. As I mentioned before, thanks for being on the program this morning. Certainly hope to have you back again, as you mentioned. So I'm probably going to hold you to that.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
To that. Until we have another edition, thank you so much.
Thank you.
To our listeners and viewers, thank you for being part of the program this morning. Join us again. That's why I say goodbye.